Hi, welcome, blessings, namaste. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful Tuesday evening as we continue our exploration of the 7 keys to, maybe not all the keys, but my opinion, the 7 keys to living a more spiritually balanced and powerful life. I'm so happy you can join me here. So happy you're here. We are continuing our conversation on moving from predictable to possible, moving from rerun to a new episode in our lives. And what a better time to do that really at the beginning of a new year. Some of you were with me on New Year's Eve, and we also talked about this as well. This is actually my favorite thing to talk about because I do believe in my view that if you can get this idea of what causes things to come into being, then you have some power over how to change them. And so all of us want change, and it's not an easy thing to do. I've been doing this for a long time, and people, it takes a lot to change. You know what I mean, to be a different person, to have different outcomes. So, but let's say hello to each other first before we actually dive in. I want to speak a blessing on our evening together. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Reverend Denise Schubert. I'm an ordained Science of Mind minister. I am currently retired from active church pulpit ministry, and I am doing this now as often and as much as I can. I'm also an amateur photographer and definitely a purveyor of possibility. So I'm streaming to you live from North Fort Myers, and we are in our sunset mode here. So it's quite beautiful wherever you are. I'm knowing that wherever you are, you've had a good New Year's, that you're full of optimism and hope. And maybe after tonight, our second night, part 2 of a 2-part series. And don't worry if you missed the first one, it doesn't really matter. If we can embrace these ideas, then creating something new in 2023 becomes way easier than you might have thought. So if you're with me and you want to say hello to me and to each other, you can do that in your comments. And otherwise, I'm going to speak a word of blessing on us. And I'm speaking a word of blessing, calling our time together sacred, calling our time together worthwhile, calling our time together an opportunity for some shift in consciousness. I am aware that whenever 2 or more are gathered, that something magnificent can happen, that what we do here ripples out into our families and our communities and our workplaces. And so I trust that there is great good for you in being here and great good for others because you're here. And so I am so grateful for this time together. We give thanks, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. So this idea, this conversation is important because it begins to answer the question of how did life get to be this way? It answers the question, or it answers so many questions. When I say how did life get to be this way, one of the key components of living a spiritual life is that we take responsibility for it. right? That we begin to let go of being the victim of circumstances, people, places, and things, being on the unlucky side of life. We I think thinking that things are just happenstance or chaos, and that there is a way that creation happens. And so it's important that we as spiritual seekers begin to ask the question, how did life get to be this way? Not just for you personally, but for the world. How did this world get into such a mess? New Year's, it's just unbelievable what people are doing to each other. It's unbelievable how much fear and worry and doubt and anger and frustration and judgment and arguing and fighting there is. I find it shocking that we are not further evolved than that on a global level. But as you know, what I say is that if I can't change, why would I think the world can change? If I can't do it, why should I think that you can do it? So we start by doing it for ourselves. It's the only place we can start. It's the only real transformation that can happen is with ourselves. And because we are part of a global community, and in consciousness we are one, when you and I change, it changes everything. And so anyway, that's why we begin. So the conversation tonight is important because it begins to answer what may seem like simple questions. Why can't I be happier? Why don't I have more money? Why can't I sell my house? Why is the world so violent? And the answer to all of these questions has something to do with who we are in the moment. It has to do with our belief systems. It has to do with our domestication. It has to do with a lack of understanding how the world comes to be. It has to do with our not understanding how forms or effects are related to consciousness or related within the realm of thought. Now, this is not new thought teachings. Everyone teaches it. Abraham Hicks, Jesus, the Buddha, everyone teaches. Change your thinking, change your life. You want to change the outside, change the inside. Now, this is a very simple thing to say and not as simple thing to do. And why? Is because you and I are standing where we are right now as a result of whatever it is for you. For me, 71 years of experience of being taught, being domesticated, being orientated, being all of that. That's true for a 10-year-old. It's true for a baby. A baby not even born yet is influenced by the world we live in. So the words I like to use is context and content, because content flows from context. Nothing outside of the context can happen. And by the way, it's really very simple. Don't be fooled by the words. Context could, you could put the word belief in the term of context. Context is a broader word, but if you have a belief that life is hard, then life will be hard for you. So a person who has a context that life is hard cannot have an easy life. That's as complicated as it is. If you plant a carrot seed into the soil of the universe, what will grow is a carrot. So we live in a lawful universe that has causes. The effects have causes. So whatever life is in this moment, abundant or poor, happy or sad, it's not anything to do with circumstances. And I'm not saying you can't be sad about circumstances, because that would be a ridiculous thing to say. But we're talking about an overarching experience of living personally and as a collective. Now, the definition of context is a set of beliefs, assumptions, concepts, values, and practices that constitutes a way of viewing reality, and which inevitably constitutes what may occur within that reality. If your context for living is life is easy, you will have an easy life. And it won't be because you're born into a special family or because you're on the right side of the tracks or because you just got lucky. It'll be because in your deepest, deepest heart of hearts, you believe that life can be easy for you. Now, tonight, remember, we're talking about how. We're going to talk about how you create a new context, because it would be very bad here to judge yourself or to judge other people. You know, it's also as simple as this. If the context in the majority of human beings on the planet was one of love and generosity and sharing and peace, the world would be a very different place. And the very fact that it's not, if you want to know what the overarching belief systems are of the world, simply look at what is. Look at what's happening in the world. And you will know that greed still weighs out. You will still, war weighs out over peace. So if you want to know what the operating belief systems are or the operating context, simply look at the results. Look at what is. Now, the idea to go from predictable to possible, let's talk about predictable for a moment. When you and I were born, when I was born, I'm assuming you were born and not hatched. Maybe you were hatched. When you and I were born, we were born into a family, we were born into a religion, we were born into a financial situation, we were born into a belief system, we were born into ideas about men and women and sex and rock and roll. We were born into ideas, and we were taught and trained and observed all of that, and that became our identity. It became what we believed. Well, and you could actually believe the opposite. It doesn't really matter. Just get the idea that we were imprinted upon. Don Miguel Ruiz calls that domestication. You can call it your orientation. It doesn't really matter what you call it. But most of us arrive in adulthood never questioning our belief systems because we believe them to be true. We think we're right. We think our parents are right. We think our political party's right. We think, you understand, we don't question it too much. You know, Socrates said an unexamined life is not worth living, and only because if you don't question, you can only produce what you've been producing. Nothing will change. You can't have anything different until the context or the belief system changes. And remember, we're going to talk about how you do that. So, it would be, as long as it's unquestioned, and as long as we're allowing the past to be projected into the future is pretty predictable, because you can't really produce anything, you can't really do anything until you have a new idea. And I'm not talking just a conscious thought. You know, if our conscious thoughts were creative, then we would have won the lottery yesterday. It's really there's a saying that God knows your heart, and that means that God knows your inside. You can't fool God by some affirmations. So the changes really have to kind of become a deeper change than just on the surface. The fact is, we can move from a predictable life, which we want to move from that really, even if it's a good life. We were not made to be a rerun. We were made to be a new episode every week. We were made to be a new series every year. And so we have, our life really is a blank canvas. And how do we go about painting something onto that canvas that's never been painted before? Because, you know, it's New Year's. It's New Year's, right? And I don't know about you, but up until I was in my 40s, I lost the same 5 pounds every year. Every year, I'm going to lose 5 pounds this year. And every year I didn't lose 5 pounds. Sometimes, some years I gained weight, but mostly my losing 5 pounds as a declaration like that was never very successful. Do you know why? You should be guessing by now. Because there was something in me, there was some belief system in me that had to shift before I could actually have the body I wanted or have the level of health that I wanted. Just as something needs to shift in you to have a happy, joyful relationship, or something needs to shift in you for you to get a job that pays you 30% more than you're earning now. I remember one time having lunch with some male business associates of mine, and I was interviewing for a new job. And they were asking me questions. One of the questions they asked me is how much I thought I was going to make. And I remember answering their question. This was probably in the early 70s, but I remember asking their question, and they were shocked at how low I was saying. Like, they were like, that was not real for them. It was very real for me. Like, that was what I could make. I think it was like $30,000 a year or something. And I realized that I needed to work on that. I needed to see what belief systems I had inside of me that would have me play at that level or live within that limitation. And I finally did discover, after a lot of work, a lot of prosperity courses and studying and reading, that I had this idea that I could never make more than my mother. So that's how belief systems operate. How belief systems operate is by results. You look at the results, right? Your results will match the belief system almost identically, really. So in order to say, we're going to start moving into how to a little bit. But the very first thing to do is to simply allow yourself to entertain the idea that what's possible for you is more than you think. What's possible in life is more than you think. That would be one great thing to say. In my words, you can create a context of possibility for yourself. You can create a context of expanded possibility for yourself. You know, one of the things I like to do every December is to create a context for the next year. So 2022 was one kind of year, and what kind of year would I like 2023 to be? What kind of year would you like 2023 to be for you? And normally we just look and see what we want, what the desires would be. You can also look at what you don't want, though it's a little more powerful to come at it from a vision rather than a reaction. So you could want a 2023 of expanded possibilities. You can want a 2023 of adventure, of prosperity, 2023, a year of vibrant health, a year of, I think one of my years I did a year of adventure, and I think that was the year I went to Nairobi for 3 months. But you get the idea that you're wanting to create an idea out of which content can flow, and the content matches the idea. So when you are living into your future based on the past, based on past beliefs, past results, but by the way, this is all very normal. So if you're a person who goes through relationships, right, you're disappointed in relationships, most of us will only create a relationship within those parameters, right? That's hard to go outside of them. So the fear you have about it, or well, maybe it'll work this time, or whatever patterns you brought into it that had it not worked the last 4 times, all of that is part of who we are in terms of an unconscious, subconscious belief systems. And we think it's out there. We think it's their fault, or they're to blame, or I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or good things happened to them but not to me, because it's easier to do that than to change ourselves. But you don't even have to change yourself. I wish if it were necessary that you figure out what's going on in there and shift it, it would be impossible. In fact, that's why we pay therapists. We pay therapists an enormous amount of money to tell us why we're neurotic. And I want you to know it doesn't matter why you're neurotic. We are neurotic, but it doesn't matter why you are, because you don't have to know why in order to not be. You don't have to know why your relationships up until now have not been successful in order to have a successful one. And I know that that flies in the face of modern psychology. All you really need to do is to, I'm going to give you the 3 keys to doing this. I want to see you over here. So all you really need to do, 3 things you need to do. One is the creation of an unknown future is a declaration. That's the first thing it is. It's standing right where you are saying, I will be a more loving person. I will create for myself a loving community. I will earn more money this year than last year. Do you understand? It's a declaration, not based on evidence, because if you create based on evidence, then you are automatically limited to the evidence that you've created in the past. So now, when I say that it's a declaration, it would be very normal for you to say, well, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I mean, of course, my history, my patterns, what's happened in the past matters. Of course, it's going to affect the future. But the problem is that if that's true and there's no way out, then we are truly trapped. If you cannot really, and if you can't do it quickly and efficiently and effectively, I mean, for God's sakes, we could be at war for the rest of eternity. And for you, I want world peace, and I want world peace really fast. I want to lose those 5 pounds, right? I want vibrant health. I want to recover from my ailments fast. So declaration, announcements, proclamations. Now, part of the reason we don't do that is because we don't know how to make it happen. But remember, we are metaphysicians. It's not our job to know how to make it happen. Life knows how to grow a carrot seed. Life knows how to create a hard life. Life knows how to create an easy life. Life knows how to give you adventure. Our job is not the how. Our job is the what. Hear me. Your job is to cast the vision. It's the universe's job to clothe that vision with flesh. Your job is to say what it is, and it's the universe's job to make it happen. So part of the challenge to living a spiritual life is faith and trust and surrender. But who you are as a daydreamer, who you are as a vision caster, it's who you are. It's who we are. So declaration, and by the way, these should be private. You don't want to entrust your deepest heart's dreams with people who are going to rain on your parade, or tell you what an idiot you are, or remind you of all your shortcomings, or any of those things. You are a powerful creator. You create through the word, spoken or thought. You have the power to create a brand new future out of nothing. Creating something out of nothing. You don't always have to create something out of something. You have the ability to do that. It starts with your declaration. Now, right on the heels of this declaration, which is another hard part, I didn't say the how. I didn't say, maybe I did say it would be easy. Well, the declaring part is really easy because, I want to go to, I'm going to Europe this year. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to find a new job. I'm going to work for world peace. I'm going to recycle. I'm going to care about the world. I'm going to be more tolerant and loving. I'm going to forgive my mother. All of these things are, even though you've never been able to do any of them in the past, you can do them. You just have to do them. Second component is commitment. Now, because here's the deal. If you say, I want to lose 5 pounds, and you eat an entire chocolate cake every day, the chances of you losing 5 pounds are really slim because you're not operating in alignment with the thing you said you were going to do. So most of us, commitment is a challenge, staying true to what we say we want. So for example, if you say you want to be a more loving person, just for example, I want to be more loving than I've been. I want to care more about people. Really, from the moment you say that, you have to walk that walk. From the moment you say that, you have to be willing to do it in each and every moment and to call yourself on it, because in order to have what you want, if you don't already have what you want, if you haven't already been able to manifest what you want, obviously what needs to be changed is you and not the world. So that change, you have to make that change welcomed, because if you've been an unloving person and want to be a more loving person, the unloving has to be transformed. It has to be liberated. It has to be healed. But you want it to be. So you hand it over in such a way and you do your part. Now, commitment, I know this is kind of deep, right? It's a lot for 35 minutes or whatever. Commitment goes hand in hand with environment. So 3 components: declaration, commitment, environment. If you want to be a more loving person, it would really serve you to hang out with loving people. It would really serve you to watch what loving people do. It would really enhance your progress if you were to create an environment where you can be loved and practice loving. Do you follow what I'm saying? So you might have some really negative, mean, cranky friends that you've got to have to take a hiatus, vacation. Mean, cranky friends, I'm taking a vacation from you because I'm practicing being more loving and you're standing in my way. Don't say that to them. But I want you to understand what I'm saying. If you're, my master's thesis was on spirituality as a healing modality for addiction. And I know a lot about addiction. If you're an addict, if you're an alcoholic, so let's not even get that heavy. Let's say alcohol's been interfering with your life, and it's causing you issues with your family or issues with your work or issues, you've gotten a DUI, and you want to stop doing that, right? That you can see that it's going to lead you down a very bad road, and you want to not be in life as a powerful spiritual being with an alcohol problem. Well, you can so do that. And part of it is declaration. Part of it is, I will never have another drink as long as I live, I promise. Now, what happens when you say that, right? I mean, fear, it's like, oh my God, I don't know that I can do that. It's like, oh my God, of course you can do that. And you commit to it. And every minute of every day, you stand in that commitment. And you don't go into bars where your friends are drinking. That's the environment part. So I want to open up a space here. And by the way, I live this. Some of you know me really well. I am a context creator. I do create something out of nothing. I do. And I am diligent on working with myself when myself gets into trouble. Like when I start stinking thinking, when I start negativity, like, oh, that can't happen, I'm limited, I'm too old, I'm too blah, 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 whatever all of that is. Because I know it's not true. I know that in every moment I have the ability to paint on an unpainted canvas. Now, does that mean we're never influenced by external forces? Of course it doesn't mean that. We're part of a human family, so we are affected and we are impacted. But most of us, my view is that the violence the hunger, violence, killing, all the depression, addiction, suicide, all of this is from feeling victimized, like from having no power. And I know that that's not true, that we have power, a lot of power. I mean, a lot of power. Let me share with you a couple of, obviously, you guys all know one of favorite, my favorite quotes. I'm going to show it to you again just because I love it so much. And this one, if you've been around me any length of time, you have seen this quote 1,000 times. Possibility is not real at its origin. I am a loving person. I am sober. I double my salary this year. It's not real when you say it. It's a dream. It's a vision. It's a declaration. It's a pronouncement. It's an announcement. It's you giving instructions to the universe. It is you create as real in your mind, in your heart, in your consciousness, and then you stand for it as a reality. Meaning, you can be counted on to live consistent with the declaration that you made. It's very powerful. I mean, I truly have loved this quote for more years than I can even tell you. Here's another quote from a wonderful book called As a Man Thinketh by James, I think it's James Allen. He says, a particular train of thought persisted in, be it good or bad, cannot fail to produce its results on character and circumstances. A person cannot directly choose their circumstances, but can choose their thoughts, and so indirectly, yet surely, shape their circumstances. This is the conversation about when you plant a carrot seed, you get a carrot. Now, when you plant doubt, you'll get doubt. If you plant ambiguity, you'll get ambiguity. It's so important that we monitor ourselves. Nobody can do it for you. Anyway, so declaration, commitment, and environment. And you are in charge of all three of those things. Nobody needs to agree with you. Nobody needs to support you. Nobody needs to believe you. It's all yours. And you can start today. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were feeling a little bit stuck in life. And so we talked for a little while, and really, once again, came up against courage. And that sometimes to change your life takes 20 seconds of insane courage to make a change. Because I do know, but if you do it and are successful at doing it, meaning you commit to it and it ends up producing fruit in your life, you'll start getting better at it, because it's actually is a little bit fail-proof if you take the right actions, hold the right consciousness within yourself. But sometimes to have a better job, you have to leave the job you have. Sometimes in order to have a relationship that's more in alignment with who you want to be, you have to leave the relationship you have. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes in order to stop drinking, you have to stop hanging out with your drinking buddies. Sometimes to quit smoking, you've got to chew on a cinnamon stick for 6 months and wear a nicotine patch. But all of those changes, you are still the master of your own universe. You're still the one who has the ultimate say-so. And all you really need to do, I don't know about all you really need to do, that was a little too something, but I do know that one of the things that really works is, one, to believe that you are a spiritual being made in the image and likeness of the creator of all things. And made in the image and likeness means that you have the ability to create, that you are not a puny, sinful little blob of bones, that you were born in original blessing. You have the ability, God-given ability, and responsibility to create a life you love, a life that glorifies life, so that you are a spiritual being. And two, that equally as important, you were made out of love. You are innocent. Two is that thoughts are things. That the creative tool, the tool for creating on this plane of existence, is consciousness or mind or thought. Your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your attitudes are what creates your reality. Sad but true. So you want to change your life, change your thoughts. Thank you, Dr. Ernest Holmes. So that is our lesson for today. From predictable to possible is about creating into tomorrow out of nothing. Boldly go where you have never gone before, and watch what happens. Just see what happens. You know, I mean, it only takes, as I said at the beginning of this stream, if I can't do it, why would I think anyone can? Right? So, and all the any conflicts in your life, or any place where you're beating yourself up, or where, I mean, if you can't bring more or something different or bring love, I mean, why should anybody be able to do it? We might as well just all sit around and, I don't know, watch the next episode of, Yellowstone. Well, probably should watch that regardless. Anyway, all right. So that is our lesson for today. Let me see if I have anything else. Oh, I do have a little quote here. Two more quotes from As a Man Thinketh. A particular train of thought persisted in it, be it good or bad. Oh, no, we already did that one. Let me do this one. Sorry. Our thoughts fuel our dreams and aspirations, or they can bind us from accomplishing them. It's exactly what I've been saying. So your thinking either moves you in the direction of your dreams, or it binds you from actually achieving your dreams. So choose your thoughts carefully. All right. If you are interested in spiritual coaching, if you feel stuck and you want to move in some way, I'm available. You can reach me at revdschubert at gmail.com. And if you want to do a love offering to my ministry, you can also do that. I am getting ready to go back to South Africa in February, so I'm starting up my blog, my travel blog again. I'll be sending that out this week. If you're not already on my travel blog, you can go sign up for it at deniseschubert.com, and you can also, if you want to make a donation to the ministry, you can also do that on the website or through PayPal. So that's it for this evening. Thank you so much for joining me on this fourth day of 2023. Hi, Casey. I'm going to pray us out. I'm going to just speak a word for you. So before I pray, why don't you deposit some, you don't have to write it down. You don't have to post it on the chat, but put into the mix in this moment whatever it is you're holding for yourself. Like, dream big, go big. Like, if you were not limited in any way, if you had the money, the time, the support, if you knew you could not fail, if you knew that whatever you wanted would come to pass, what would you want? That's really where you want to go. Where would you live? What would you be doing? Who would you be doing it with? What would the quality and quantity of your life look like if you were not fettered by your past? If you could undo all the learning, if you could take the belief twirling about here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to pray and just know that's possible for you. So turn within with me. And the turning within is truly a full spiritual recognition that the source of the without is inside, that the existing circumstances, conditions, people, places, and things are part of an already manifested universe. The thought's already been thought. So it is as real as it needs to be, but when consciousness changes, the outside will change as well. So we focus on the inside. We turn within to the space and place and dimension within us that is holy, the space and place and dimension within us that is perfect and whole and complete, the space and place and dimension within us that is connected to the all that is, the infinite wisdom, the unlimited possibilities, that is the very life of spirit that is living itself as your individual life. And so I know that it is that which connects us to one to another. It is that which connects us to all the resources of the entire planet. It's that which connects us to all the animals, the plants, the minerals. It connects us to everything. And we know that we become unlimited. And I also know that what motivates and actuates and propels molecules to move into different forms is consciousness. And so I'm speaking my word, doing that consciously for and about you, for and about myself, for and about the planet, to simply know that as we raise up in consciousness, as we spiritualize our minds, as we allow the energy of unconditional love to fill us, that everything changes, everything. Everything expands, everything evolves, everything grows, everything naturally falls into place. Our job is to simply know from a place of love and respect and power what we want. And then we allow the universe to build it. We allow it to be built for us. And we know we're worthy of receiving it. We know we're loved. We know that there is no resistance on the side of anything in the universe to keep it from the fulfillment of this word. And so whether your deepest desires is love, whether your deepest desires is generosity, abundance, health, prosperity, peace of mind, calm, happiness, passion, whatever it is, say yes to it. Right now, say yes, I accept, fill in the blank, and then let the universe go about creating it for you. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to spend a few moments together. I'm grateful for the intelligence and wisdom that governs this universe, that is the very source of my life and all life. I'm grateful for the word fulfilled. And we just simply allow it to be together without resistance, trusting in the process. And we do this by saying, and so it is. Amen. All right. Amen. Amen. So, wonderful. Happy New Year again. I will be back with you on Sunday night for Sunday Night Alive at 6 p.m. My blog will be going out tomorrow afternoon. And I look forward to the next time. Peace and blessings.